Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, we're joined today by some friends of mine whose son Aaron was killed in SEAL Team 6. And I just want to thank Billy and Karen Vaughn for being here today. And I just met another parent whose son was also killed on that mission. You should have received a text message if you went to our website, which is audittheirs.net, and it asks you to call and let your congressman know that this IRS scandal is not resolved, and we want some accountability, and there's a link. So if you didn't go to our site, go to it at audittheirs.net, and you may have gotten a text message from it. Our next speaker has a new ebook that came out this week called Why John Roberts Was Wrong About Health Care. Please join me in welcoming Senator Mike Lee from Utah.
Fellow patriots, I hear you today, and I like what I hear, because what I hear is the sound, the unmistakable sound of freedom. How about Glenn Beck? I love that man. One of the things I love about Glenn Beck is that he reminds us of something that we all need to be talking more about, which is that governments, especially big governments, inevitably go bad. They become tyrants when they get too big and when they get too powerful. Now this, it's important to remember, remains true whether the government in question is headed by a Republican or by a Democrat. And it remains true whether the government in question is headed by a king, an elected president, or, as it turns out, an elected president who thinks he's a king. And yet, shockingly, our national government, headquartered just behind us, decided 3 years ago that it was a good idea to take charge of the most personal decisions in your life, the decisions regarding where to go to the doctor and how to pay for it and what kind of insurance that you have. And get this, they decided to give the power to enforce that to the IRS. I know, creepy, isn't it? There were a lot of problems with this bill. First of all, no one had read it. Secondly, they give most of the power to make most of the laws that will actually govern you to other people in other parts of the government. Thirdly, even after they wrote it in a way that was unconstitutional, and 5 lawyers wearing black robes across the street rewrote that law not just once but twice in order to save it, and that's a problem. So we're now stuck with the healthcare law that Congress didn't read, that Congress didn't write, and the American people are not going to tolerate. You see, it's with this understanding in mind that our founding fathers gave us a gift, a great gift, a gift that said, we know that governments are like this, we know that this is what governments do. They become this big animal that tramples on your rights and your property. So we're going to limit our national government to just a few areas. Well, we've gotten away from those limitations, and together, as patriots, as Americans who love this country, as Americans who love this government but want no longer to fear it, we're going to unite together to restore constitutionally limited government. And so I invite everyone within the sound of my voice to join me in this cause, to become part of this national dialogue, to talk to your friends, your neighbors, your aunts, your uncles, your co-workers. Tell them what's at stake. And when we work together, we can form a movement, a powerful movement, that in 2014 will make 2010 look like a Sunday picnic for the Democrats. This, in short, is no ordinary nation. This is a land ordained by Almighty God to be inhabited by sons and daughters who would live free. Let us live free together, and to do that, let us restore constitutionally limited government. We can, we must, and together we will. Thank you.
I think 13 hours and then she gives me 2 minutes. Anybody want to fire some IRS agents? Why don't we start with the 16,000 IRS agents that are going to implement Obamacare? I woke up this morning and I couldn't find my cell phone. So I asked Harry Reid if I could borrow his. You think the NSA is going to be surprised when they see Harry Reid at a tea party? I think we can have freedom and security and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution all at the same time. I'm like most Americans horrified that my government has gotten out of control and is persecuting people for their religious and their political beliefs, and it needs to end, and it needs to end now. It turns out that the government employee at the IRS who will not testify, who will not help with the hearings, it turns out she's been doing this for decades. She was at the FEC telling Republican candidates that you need to quit and we'll leave you alone, but you need to never run for office again. She's been using this bully nature of government, and we're sick and tired of government bullies, and we need to send them home. We've been fighting for a decade against people who attacked us. We didn't attack them, they attacked us. We've been fighting for a decade to protect our country. We've been fighting for freedom. The freedom we're fighting for, and I hear it every day from the soldiers, is encoded, is in the Bill of Rights. It is the Constitution. I will continue to defend it, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Delivered 2 million petitions to repeal Obamacare. Please welcome Restore America's Ken Hoagland.
Thank you. And you know what his answer was? It wasn't optional. The fight we wage today continues and continues and continues because we are unique, we are Americans. Don't ever forget, we are the USA, we represent you, we work for you, and we need to reform this government for you right now and get rid of an onerous, overburdensome, arrogant group of people who continue to meddle in your lives. It's time to end it. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Is a congressman from Louisiana who's been very, very patient with me today, Congressman John Fleming.
Hello, citizens.
Prove that you're a good employee. Only in government do people screw up repeatedly, then deny all responsibility. In every day since, people from all over the country have begun offering their cheers of gratitude for saying what needed to be said. As I began reading through those thousands of emails in my inbox, I was surprised and deeply moved how many Democrats and self-described liberals wrote to me. They told me that even though we don't agree politically, they were every bit disturbed at what the IRS did as I was. Our battle is not right versus left. It's everyday American versus Washington, D.C. It's the Shire versus Mordor. And that's good news. Liberty is rooted in the American soul, and the fight to defend it is in our marrow. To be born free is a rare thing in this world. Ours is a battle worth winning, so stand tall and fight!
Thank you, Chief Becky. Next is a congressman that John McCain likes to call a wacko bird. say John McCain's part of the problem in the Senate. I say none of the people in this Tea Party movement are wacko birds. We're American eagles. Our next speaker is an American eagle. Please welcome Senator Ted Cruz.
Thank you. God bless the Tea Party. Now, I'm a little bit confused. The New York Times told me the Tea Party was dead. The IRS told me the Tea Party is dead.
I don't think so.
They both work for the same person.
There is nothing more encouraging than millions of Americans all across this country standing up for liberty, standing up for the free market, and standing up for the Constitution. What's happened with the IRS is an absolute outrage. It is an abuse of power, and it fits into the pattern of the Obama administration of abusing government power and then misleading the American people about it. President Obama needs to tell the truth. When Richard Nixon tried to use the IRS to target his political enemies, it was wrong. And when the Obama administration does it, it's still wrong.
Still wrong! So you should go too! Impeach!
The IRS has no business asking any Americans what books you're reading.
That's right.
The IRS has no business asking any American what are the content of your prayers.
That's right.
I hope the answer to that question was, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. You know, the IRS designated special code words to watch out for. They were code words like Constitution, Bill of Rights, Liberty, Patriot. And you know what?
Let him talk! 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 Let him
talk! God bless you. They looked for Constitution, Bill of Rights, Liberty, Patriot, and you know what? They were right to be afraid. So what's the best solution? The very best solution is we need to abolish the IRS. And I've got a second idea. We need to take every one of those IRS agents and put them on our southern border. Now that's mostly a joke, but I got to admit, if you were coming over illegally and you crossed the river and saw an army of IRS agents, you'd turn around and go home. Every American should be able to fill out our taxes on a postcard.
I made this, you get this.
This is about power. Why did the head of the IRS meet at the Obama White House 157 times? Why? more than any member of the cabinet. You know how many times in the same time period the head of the IRS met with President Bush? One. What on earth are you doing 157 times? Now, he had an answer. The Easter egg roll. I know it seems like the Obama administration's gone on for a long time, but I'm pretty sure we haven't had 157 Easters. Let me ask a very serious request of everyone here and everyone watching online. We know the tip of the iceberg of the IRS targeting Tea Party groups, targeting conservative groups, targeting pro-life groups, targeting pro-Israel groups, but we still don't know about individuals who've been targeted. We still don't know about those who dared to speak up, to contribute, to bundle, to participate, and the extent to which the IRS used its power to target political enemies. So we have set up an email address, and I want to invite anyone who believes you were targeted by the IRS for political activity to send an email to irstarget@cruz.senate.gov.
Thank you.
Let me repeat that. irstarget@cruz.senate.gov. We are going to get to the bottom of this administration's abuse of power against the American citizen.
Thank you.
And I have one final question to ask you.
2016!
The final question I want to ask you. We have seen the Obama administration willing to abuse the IRS to target citizens. We've seen them willing to cover up about Benghazi. Do we trust the IRS with Obamacare and our health care? We need to abolish the IRS, and together we can get it done. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cruz, and thank you for fighting against the over 1,000-page amnesty and immigration bill that's pushing its way through the U.S. Senate right now. You're going to be receiving a text message about that in just a minute if you went to our website, audittheirs.net. So watch for that next action item for you. And Senator Cruz mentioned individuals. You're about to hear from some of the individuals and more of the groups that were affected from this IRS targeting. How many of you are from Virginia today? Thank you, Virginians, for always coming to these events and standing here and representing us, especially the people on the West Coast. When we make a call to action and we only give 14 or 13 days to get here, but we do have people who are willing to be here all the way from Washington State. The people in Washington State and on the West Coast and in Hawaii and in Alaska know they can count on and depend on the people from Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and North Carolina, time after time after time after time. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the volunteers from Tennessee as well. And I know we have all the states, but those particular states come if we say like 48 hours notice. I know we can depend especially on the Virginians and Marylands and Pennsylvanians. Our next speaker is the executive director of the Richmond Tea Party. His name is Larry Nordvig.
It's great to be stared at by fellow patriots instead of my own government, thank you. The purpose of government is to protect your rights, but the protector has become the predator, and we know all too well as victims of this. Our central government has become like a giant serpent coiled about us. It seems as though every time we take a breath, its death grip on our liberty tightens. It is time for us to strike back. The Declaration of Independence says that whenever any form of government becomes destructive, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. So, where do we begin? Here's an idea. How about we abolish the IRS? I am not appealing to you today to merely audit the IRS. I mean to obliterate it. It is too powerful, too bureaucratic, too corrupt, and too easily used as a weapon against the American people. It is a faulty structure, condemned, a public nuisance, and it's time we use the wrecking ball to bring it down.
Bring it down!
We can easily replace it with a simple consumer-based tax, like the fair tax, that would eliminate the need for the army of agents of the IRS. But let's not stop the fight there. Let's repeal Obamacare. Let's eliminate our crushing national debt. Let's get rid of Common Core. Let's secure our borders. Let's deny amnesty to illegal aliens colonizing our country. And any other unconstitutional policy that violates our natural-born rights as citizens. You, the Tea Party, are the conscience of our nation. You must show Americans that they have a choice, that there is a better way. You must advance the vision of a free America which embraces constitutionally limited government, fiscal responsibility, and accountability of our representatives. You must advance this vision, and I have a message for President Obama and all of our officials, elected and unelected, from somebody who grabs onto his Bible and his guns. I say, from the Bible, thus saith the Lord, let my people go!
Our next speaker is from Breitbart.com. He's the chairman at Breitbart.com. He was with us 3 years ago as we filled up this area the weekend that the health care law was passed. He's become one of my very close friends. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Stephen K. Bannon.
Thank you. Since we're running late, I'm going to cede my time to citizens so they can get up here and tell your stories. But Andrew Breitbart loved a good fight, and he loved fighters. That's why he loved the Tea Party. Go to our site every day. We're going to have your back in this long fight. People have said today, you own these buildings. Well, you may own them, but they're occupied by a permanent political class that is out for your destruction. And we're going to be there every step of the way because these people know the price of everything and the value of nothing. God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you, Steve.
that question to thousands of U.S. citizens, and not a single one of them thinks that a person who has less than a high school education pays more in taxes than they get in government benefits. You know the only people who believe that? Right there. Right there. Because they're paid to believe that.
In the polls, Harry Reid announces rush to pass immigration bill. If you're under the age of 18, you come up. You're welcome here. You come on up. If you're under the age of 18, we want you.
Okay, here we are over at the Capitol, and we got some very important people we want to meet. First of all, we have our great leader, self-pronounced 912 Patriots, Bob Hazelton. Yay!
Wish you were here, everybody. We could have used you today, but Pete is here, and Ron is here, and Sully's here.
Pete Franco, one of the assistant organizers, self-pronounced 912. Great to see you here in D.C.
It's great to be here, and I'm really glad to be here. I think it's a really important day. I'm excited that so many people came.
For this country, we thank you for our freedoms. We thank you for the ability to get together, lovingly, compassionately, courageously even, to stand up for you, to stand up for godly principles, to stand up for what we believe in. We come here today not out of anger, not out of frustration, maybe, but we come here today